my little piles right there. Took me over 3 hours to move those piles. My bucket holds almost as much as that excavator, but he can move twice as fast because all he has to do is turn. Hey guys, Chad here with New England Homesteaders. So that was yesterday, and this is today. Made a lot of progress yesterday. I spent 6 hours in the tractor, and Brian, my contractor friend, spent 10 hours in that excavator back there. We're just pushing that topsoil back a little further, and we're going to try to get the trenches dug for the foundation today. He's got another guy coming to help out. But that was a lot of work yesterday, and even though we're sitting in that tractor, let me tell you, that is exhausting for 6 hours, back and forth and back and forth, and moving all that dirt. But the amount of work that we got done yesterday is just insane. And look at that pile of frickin' topsoil back there. I have more dirt than I know what to do with. It's a good problem to have, I guess, but never thought of that aspect of clearing off this spot to put the barn in there. I think we cleared off probably about 2,000 square feet, so we had some decent workspace, and it was 18 inches to 2 feet thick in some places, so there's a ton of dirt back there. So we've got these 4 stakes in the ground. There's one there. There's one right back over there. And there's one there. And there's one there. Those are the 4 corners for the barn. So we've got it angled so that it matches the angle of those 2 big trees. That one right there, and that one right there, because ultimately, when we get around to building the house, it's going to sit between those 2 trees and basically be lined up. So we want the angle of this barn to match the angle of the house. So we've got a little more space than we need between the front left corner of the barn, which is right there, and that tree. But this was the deciding factor right here. So we've got a well, and this is going to be the front right corner of the barn. So this area that's cleared right here is basically going to be the driveway space to get around the barn and head back out this way to the animal barn that we'll get around to building next year. Hopefully it's going to be a smaller barn that's just for animals and hay storage. We'll sit somewhere kind of right here in the middle of this space. And then this area right here is going to be the orchard. Apples, peaches, pears, plums. Hopefully going to get that planted in the next month or so. They're going to pull all these stumps right here. I'm going to knock down this pile of dirt, smooth this out, and ultimately this driveway right here is going to get moved over to be right here, which will open up a really nice orchard space for about 20 trees. So excited to get those in the ground. So I've been watching a great video called The Permaculture Orchard. You can Google that, look it up on Amazon. It's a DVD. I think it was 20 bucks or something. Amazing DVD of this guy up in Canada. I first saw him when Justin Rhodes visited him. But he's got this really cool approach to sort of a pick your own and market operation, where he's got permaculture concepts with all the fruit, nut, berry bushes and herbals all mixed together in different rows based on their harvest dates. So check that out. That's really cool. I'm sure you can find a couple of videos on YouTube, but it's definitely worth spending the money to get the DVD. But that's kind of what I hope to kind of utilize some of those principles here when I plant that orchard, and ultimately when I plant some of the rest of the stuff on the property. So the other thing I accomplished the other night is I got all of these big 8-footers moved down here. These are all the pine logs that the guy's going to come mill for me. I talked to him yesterday, and hopefully in 3 or 4 weeks he's going to be able to get out here and do this. But all of those used to sit right there. I was able to lift probably half of them with the tractor, and the other half I just kind of rolled down the hill and guided them to end up right here where they sit. And this whole pile of logs was also sitting up there, and I was able to carry all of those down here. Need to get my boys cracking, cutting and splitting wood. My friend's coming up this weekend to get our wood splitter running, so hopefully we'll have that back in action and be able to really start cranking out some firewood. Certainly need to get some cut and split to sit this whole summer for next year. Being in this cabin full-time next year, I'm guessing we're probably going to need, I would guess, maybe even like 4 cords or something to get through the winter. Certainly shows us that we need a super efficient house and a super efficient wood stove. So ultimately, I'd like that to be sort of our main source of heat. Probably going to install a wood boiler, which would be great as long as we have power, and then the wood stove will be back up. And want to design the house to be as efficient as possible to utilize the wood stove as well. One more thing, I wanted to give you a quick look at all the trees that I've been accumulating up here. Alright, so these are the trees that I accumulated last spring and summer and just took advantage of end of the year bare rootstock deals at Stark. And these ones with these types of labels on them came from Home Depot or Lowe's, and those were closed out end of the year specials too. I think I only paid about, I don't know, $9 for those apples, and I think these were each about $12 or $15. This is a big flowering pear. Now this one, actually this one's a cherry, and this one's a flowering pear. These 4 are pear trees. These 9 are peach trees. We got 16 apples and 4 plums. This one broke off. We'll see if it's still alive. I think I checked the bark and it was green, so we'll see if that comes back and leaves out. But all of these appear to have made it through the winter, sitting in my backyard at home. So we'll see how they do over the next couple weeks. Make sure they all bud out. You can see these are starting to get green on them here. So those look pretty good. So we'll see how those do. And a lot of these will end up going into that orchard area that I just showed you. Then over here, we got some more shipments that just showed up. And these, actually that one's empty. I think these are 3 pecan trees from Stark. I'm not quite sure what these are. See if we can see a label. Looks like there's about 6 or 8 trees in here. This is how they come, packed with all this wet newspaper. As long as that stays wet and cool. So these are my cherry trees. So there's, I think there's four cherry trees in here. Excited about those. Keep this all wrapped up to keep that moisture in. Make sure that they stay damp and cold, and they should be fine for another week or so. These 4 are American chestnuts, and these came from, I think these came from Burnt Ridge Nursery. And they fell apart in the packaging, so I went ahead and got those potted because they would dry out. This one's already broken dormancy a little bit, so I'm going to keep those in the garage, make sure they harden up before I put them out in the sun. And there's still definitely a risk of frost. And then these came from, let's see who these came from. These came from Burnt Ridge Nursery, so we got a whole bunch of butternut and bartnut here. And then these 3 white bundles all came from the Missouri State Nursery. Let me tell you, that is a way to get some cheap trees. These right here, I believe, are 25 hazelnut trees. And then we got 25 Norway spruce. And then we've got 25 black cherry, 25 shellbark hickory, 25 swamp white oak, and then I think 25 white oak. Yeah, 25 white oak. So all those trees, there's 150 trees there. I think it was about $136 including shipping. So check that out. That's Missouri State Nursery. There's a bunch of different nurseries that provide trees like that. And as soon as I figure out where these are going, I'm just going to start planting them. And I also ordered tree tubes to protect a lot of the chestnuts and hickories from the deer until they get to be up about 6 feet. So that's about it for today. Just want to give you a quick update on the barn progress. So excited we finally broke ground. We've got a couple of busy days, and then I'm going to work on a food plot and actually pull some stumps and stuff out here behind me in the pasture area. And then I really need to get the York rake on the back of the tractor, get that all raked up, and we'll get the guy into lime and seed that in the next week or two. And I'm so excited to see green out there. So stay tuned, guys. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.